I was really bad at content. And I just remember telling myself, just keep posting, keep posting, keep posting, keep posting. Eventually something will click. And then slowly but surely things started to go viral. Things started to click. Videos started to pop off. And I was just talking about business things. Now, like, I can pretty much make a video that I know will get 1 million views. But to become a business icon, you're gonna have to play a character, even if the character you're playing is yourself. That's what goes viral. It's getting people to feel something. Not what you say, it's how you feel. If I get intense right now, you're gonna feel what I'm f***ing saying. It's gonna go more viral. That's acting, by the way.
Let's keep the intensity up, Joel. I'm okay with that, bro. In this episode of Bad Marketing Podcast, I have Joel Kaplan, one of the biggest guys in the entire agency world. He's taught thousands of agency owners how to grow their agencies. I know for a fact he's helped over 100 people get to 6 figures a month in the agency space. And back in 2020, he was one of the biggest investments I ever made in a course and a program, and that allowed us to go from tens of thousands a month to hundreds of thousands a month as an agency. And now we're just like really close friends. We talk so much business. We both run multiple 8-figure businesses. And it's really cool to see the perspectives that we bring to the table. So very excited to have you guys see 2 8-figure entrepreneurs who started much smaller than that and in the last 3 years have grown exponentially, kind of share their thoughts on what's happening right now in the marketing world, business in general, and most importantly, content creation as a whole. Joel has absolutely transformed his business through content creation. I've transformed our business through content creation, just like this that you're consuming right now. And so it's cool to see a perspective of what people should be focusing on when it comes to the content creation side of things to grow your business using organic content without having to spend any money on ads. So with that being said, hope you get a lot out of this episode. Take some notes and make sure you implement everything that you learn. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Bad Marketing Podcast. I got a special guest here, Mr. Joel Kaplan. For those of you that don't know Joel, he's actually the reason why I actually have a legitimate company at this point. Prior to Joel, I was sitting in my...
Yo, let's clip that. Put that on
for sure. Clip this.
On a
Too
short.
bad he didn't just let the clip keep going. He cut the clip in half, right? So
It's all love.
Joel, before actually getting Joel's program, I was in my basement. I was doing decently well though. I was doing probably like, I don't know, 15, 20 grand a month or something like that. But I had I was doing more than that. Maybe like 25, 30K a month, but I had no systems. Like I didn't even have an onboarding automation. Like when I read that, I was like, onboarding automation. Like, we should do that.
Systems.
To realize how little shit we had. Like with CRM, we're going to need to manage this. Paper doesn't work. It's funny. The other day, actually, I found
you have to run ads?
Yeah. I'm like, what is this, dude?
You have to work?
I found a notebook the other day, actually, from the time that I started. And it was like how I was managing the whole company. And it was like every week I'd write all the client names on a piece of paper.
No way.
Yeah, I swear. And I'd like, we need to do this for this person this week. We need to do this for, it was like our CRM was like in a notebook. And I remember like goal was be able to pay myself $10,000 a month and like,
that's crazy.
Also pay my partner, $5K a month, also whatever. Like it was like, and we want to do $50K a month. Like it was like crazy audacious goal. But it's funny because here we are today. We're close friends. We share ideas privately on phone calls. We talk like about the business stuff that we can't talk about publicly. And it's pretty cool to have this friendship and relationship and going from like student to, close friends. And, sometimes I help you with stuff. Sometimes you help me with stuff.
Dude, absolutely. Yeah. I'm so
grateful.
grateful for you. Like I texted you the other day and I was like, I'm just so grateful to have you as a friend. And you're like, did something happen? I'm like, no, man, you're just a good friend. You're always looking for ways to add value. And I think, you joined my program a while back. You were already pretty successful. And obviously you scaled the local ad agency with some of the things that you learned. But like now I see you crushing it and I'm like, yo, Eddie, help me out. What do you see? Like, what's interesting. I was stuck at like, so funny story. Back in 2019, I hit $1 million a month. And then for 2020, 2021, 2022, I don't hit it. I'm stuck at like 500K a month, 500K a month, 500K a month. And I almost felt like, am I bad at business? I started having imposter syndrome, all these things. And 2023, you come to Denver. You're like, hey, let's do a podcast. And you share one idea on the podcast that literally within like 90 days, we hit $1 million a month, which is wild. And more than that. And now we're on track to, like, I'm fully confident 2024 is going to be the biggest year of my entire life. So I think it's really awesome to see not only our friendship, but this idea of collaborating business come full circle, you know?
Yeah, it's sick. And for those of you that want to know more about Joel's background, we've shot a previous podcast. If you haven't heard it, you can go back and jump to that one. But for today, I don't want to get into that. I want to get into content. I think you've done a great job creating content. I think a lot of people here who are listening lack the ability to go viral and get as many views as you do. I think you do a great job with that. And this is something that we go back and forth on, right? For reference for everyone, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason you got into content, I spoke at one of your events in Miami, and my speech was about how people only have, 4 hours a day to watch shit, and people are making more content. So there's more things to consume, and there's the same amount of time to waste. And so over time, the value of content will increase exponentially. The more, for every minute you can get someone to watch, that becomes more valuable every single week in a way. And I kind of shared how organic content was something that everyone should go hard on. Ironically, you have 150 people in this room that paid, and you're the motherfucker out of all of them who went and actually did it.
Yeah.
And so now,
fuck, if Eddie says I should make some content, let's hire some people.
But it's crazy to think about, right? These guys actually paid
action.
tickets as students. They went and saw a speaker that was where they wanted to be.
And they don't take action.
And didn't actually, like, some people did for like a week, a month. You've been doing this shit for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like,
and I was awful, like, which we'll get into, but my content was terrible.
It was pretty bad. At first, you thought you had to like TikTok dance and shit.
Do
you remember that? Come on, you were doing some of those. You weren't like dancing, but you were doing like.
I did not dance.
You were doing like
chill out a little bit.
You were doing like TikTok-y shit.
Doing trend videos.
Yeah.
I didn't shake my ass on camera, bro.
No, that was off camera for sure.
That was off camera. That's right. That was later that night.
But it's cool because now, dude, I remember you sending me a screenshot one time, and it was like, what was it, like 60,000 views on your story or some shit like that. I forgot, like.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, bro? It would take me like 30 stories to get 60,000 views. I'd have to post 30 times, dude.
Here in the flesh. I mean, that's not 60K, but
bro, still 23,000 right here, bro. That's a fucking hot number. And this is just on a text, bro. Like, you just posted a screenshot with some text.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild, dude. That's some fucking crazy reach. I'm a peasant over here, man. I'm cheering up and down if I can get 5. So
yeah, I mean, I guess like that. At that event, you were like talking about content. I'm like, and I just felt like something needed to change, right? This is also around the time where I started to feel like, man, things have been stuck.
Yeah. And you were spending a lot on ads.
And I was spending a lot on ads, like $150,000 a month on ads, and only making back about $500,000 to $600,000 with payroll,
sales
all that
teams,
shit.
effort.
You're only profiting like $200K, whereas my idea was, what if Eddie is right and I can get rid of that advertising expense? Now, quick little disclaimer, I'm not anti-advertising. Some of my other companies, we strictly grow them with advertising. But if you can leverage a brand and create content to grow your business, it'll absolutely make you more profitable. And there's no denying that. And the proof is in the pudding. So I was like, I'm going to commit to this. The first thing I did is I put my money where my mouth is, and I hired someone. I'm like, I'm going to hire someone $5K a month, a videographer to follow me around. And it was awful. Like, I sucked, bro. I mean, you were already, you're talking.
But like,
I was,
you suck compared to now.
Yeah.
But you didn't like really suck. Like,
dude, I was pretty bad.
You were pretty bad.
I was pretty bad at content.
Fair
and
enough.
I just remember, so my brother, his name's Alan, and he an attorney, and he was creating TikTok videos, and he was going viral for his law firm.
In Spanish, right?
In Spanish and English, like he was going viral.
Actually, you're right. You and your brother fucking took the advice.
He was at the event.
Yeah, that's funny.
So I'm like, shit, I'm sucking. My brother's doing really good, and I went to my brother Alan. I said, hey, do you have any recommendations? He said, just post one video a day for the next year. He was like, just keep posting. Eventually, something will click. And I was like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just keep showing up, even when things aren't clicking, even when things aren't.
And it didn't click for a while.
And it didn't. Probably that whole year, honestly.
Yeah, different videographers, different
Whereas
types
now,
of content.
like, I got 70,000 followers last week without any magical thing, just like happens from
70,000 followers last week?
Yeah. I was at 600K on Instagram. I'm at 670.
Jesus, bro.
Like, I'll
That's
be
like
at
my entire following. Like, imagine working your whole life and then Joel's like, took a piss last week and I did the same thing. Like, fuck.
I mean, it's you know how like compound interest, it's the same thing with content.
For sure. 10% of 600K is 60 grand versus 10% of 6 is 600.
Like we were stuck at like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube for months, and then within a week we went to 240,000 subscribers, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's how it works.
Yeah.
It compounds, whereas like every time, once you have a following, it's easier to get more of a following. It's easier to get even more views, so on and so forth. But for a whole year, man, I was really, maybe even like 1 to 2 years, the first 1 to 2 years, I was really bad at content. And I just remember telling myself, just keep posting. Eventually, something will click. And then slowly but surely, things started to go viral. Things started to click. Videos started to pop off. And I was just talking about business things, how to make money, like how to start a marketing agency. I would talk about things that were interesting to me, like billionaires and how they think. And over that time, I started to see patterns. I started to be like, this is interesting. If I post like this, this happens. If I post like that, that happens. And at this now, like I can pretty much make a video that I know will get 1 million views, or at least I'm willing to bet that it has a very high likelihood.
Yeah. You can make it and be like, that's viral.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the story. I think I don't know where you want me to dive.
Yeah, let's talk
on.
about like what is it that you've learned, right? You
Sure,
went from
yeah.
like being a schmuck for a year.
Yeah.
Then you went to like being like pretty damn good for a year, and now you're like, I feel like at a level where you just start doing it. I guess last thing before we get into the technical part, because I think a lot of people, especially ones that listen to this, they don't necessarily understand how important content is as an ROI. So like, you're a super successful guy. You have 8-figure companies. Okay.
We doubled our profit margin, for example.
Remove that. How much time a week do you spend on content? Even just bandwidth of like mental effort of like thinking about it.
1 day.
1 day a week. Out of 4? Out of 5?
We try to actually do it on Sundays. It's more like a chill thing.
You shoot all your content on Sunday. And then you don't shoot any content the rest of the week.
And now I can actually get it down where I could do even less if I wanted to.
Yeah. But here you are, right? We're shooting content again. So I guess that would add to the list. But let's say like as a CEO of your, status, you're still spending 20% of, let's call it 15% of your week.
I am spending time on it, but it's also like once you learn the principles, you can create very effective content with a lot less time. Whereas if you're having to figure it out, it's gonna take, like in the past, we would hop on meetings 2 or 3 times a week to evaluate what worked, what didn't, what should we improve, what do we need to get rid of, right? Like we were spending a lot more time. So I think maybe if the question is how much time does someone have to spend, like you can't judge it based on where I'm at now.
It's funny because I tell this to my...
Like I can go to my office and record 10 videos that will go viral in 30 minutes.
Yeah. No,
for
I feel
short
you.
form.
In my mastermind for agencies, like someone last week, we were on a Q&A call and he was like, show me your calendar and show me how much time you dedicate towards content. And I like showed them and I was like, but you can't compare because like I can get in a studio, my team knows, and I can one take.
And you have the team, by the way. You have the setup, you've got the camera, you got the lights.
I got the experience, dude. I mean, I've been making content technically since like 2011, 12 online. Been posting videos of like even just simple motivation shit with headlines. You know what I mean? Like it's just so much more natural. My team, like we rented out a news set to go shoot an ad. And he was like trying to bill us for like 3 hours. And I was like, bro, I'm going to be in and out of here in like 20 minutes. He's like, how many ads are you guys shooting? I'm like, probably like 8. He's like, there's no fucking chance you're out of here in 20 minutes. I'm
because most people are going to have to show up and be very scripted and like not know what to say.
Bet. 15 minutes we were out there. And I was like, you can't compare to me because if you went to shoot those same 8 ads, it would take you the whole day, all 8 hours.
Yeah.
So I understand that. But if someone's new,
I would say it's important. Here's my number one place to start. Why are you creating content? That answer is going to tell you exactly what to do next. And this is where most people get it wrong. A lot of people think, I just need content because they heard our podcast or they heard Gary Vee screaming content, or they just think I need content. Yeah. And then what they do is they make videos that have nothing to do with their business or with their niche, and it creates no return on investment for them. So the starting point is, why are you creating content? So for example, if you run a dental marketing agency, why the heck would you create content around billionaires and about how to start a marketing agency? It doesn't even relate. If a dentist saw your content, they'd be like, what? It wouldn't even click. Whereas if you're just trying to be famous, go do some viral stunts. Go out, take your Lambo, and go to schools around the area and just let little kids in your Lambo and you give them advice and you record that. Like, just create viral shit that like will probably not make you money, but it'll get you very well known. Like, go to a restaurant and tip $10,000 and record the reaction. That's gonna go viral
for sure.
Go to a like a dumpster place and then like trash your Lambo and just get rid of it. Like, that's gonna go viral. I'm just saying, like,
this guy.
if the goal is just like virality, pure attention, go do viral things, right? That's why the why is so important. Like, we have a mutual friend, JR. JR was like, Joel, I just want to be famous. I'm like, well, don't talk about real estate. Like, go do some viral shit.
Yeah.
You have to start with why. Are you trying to convert more dental clients? If that's the case, if you have a dental marketing agency, your content should all be nurturing content, case studies, testimonials, handling objections, and you should start a podcast where you invite other high authority dentists on your podcast so that you build your network. And now anytime someone sees your brand or your content, they're like, oh shit, he talked to Dr. Whatever. He must be legit. But that video will never go viral. It might not even get more than 50 or 100 views, but those 50 to 100 views might be from people that are searching for you to see if they should even want to work with you in the first place. And that content is going to be exponentially more valuable than you just standing and talking about some random thing, trying to make a Hormozy style video. You know what I'm saying? So
makes sense, yeah.
You have to start with why. If the goal is like, hey, I just want to build my brand in the business niche, then make content that's slightly more viral around business, right? Have your hot takes, have your strong opinions that you believe in, and then relay it back to business. Like, it just depends on what you want. And I think this is where most people get it wrong. They're just like, I need to create content and build my personal brand, but why? And based on that answer, you're going to have a totally different strategy.
So let's say my strategy is,
that's the starting point.
Let's say I have a not my strategy, but my goal here, right? Let's say I have a marketing agency, and let's say, what's a good niche to go after? Chiropractors.
Sure.
Cool. So like, what would I do? Or what you're basically telling me, I understand the podcast part. I understand like getting other people for authority. I think that's something super important that everyone here needs to be doing. If you can get them on there, right? I think some people, based on their authority, I think you need to gain some sort of leverage to do so, right? Like, your video has to be.
Or just go to, I mean, maybe you could also just go to a chiro conference and do like street style interviews with all the top chiros, all the speakers.
For
you
sure.
know, like there's way. If I was a chiro agency and I wanted to blow up on social media, I actually wouldn't. It's a waste of your time. I would not try to create content around your personal brand. The chiropractor doesn't give a fuck about you, the person. You're not a guru to them. You're just a marketing agency. Instead, I would create an entire strategy where I'm making videos around the biggest objections that I get, case studies, results. And I would honestly just start a podcast and invite all of the top dogs in the industry. And that's it. I don't know if I would do much more than that. And maybe that's a...
How would you go and acquire the clients then? You go spend money on ads?
Ads, I wouldn't use the content as an acquisition tool. I would use it as a networking tool, and I would use it as a nurturing tool to get prospects that are in my ecosystem, in my funnel, to convert. So maybe I'm running ads, right? So I'm running an ad saying like, hey, I'll get you patients, and you only pay when they show up. Then they are like, oh, what is this agency? It's the chiro agency. Cool. Let me book a call. Sweet, you book a call. Then your setter calls them and is like, hey, I want to make sure that you check out our YouTube channel, some of our success stories. And we've also done some podcasts with some really big names in the industry. You should definitely check them out before the call. You send them a page with all that content. Even if they don't watch it, just that mental check of like, oh, this guy's legit is going to do more for you than standing on camera and just like
trying to go viral,
trying to be the next whatever business influencer.
Yeah.
So it just depends on, this is where most people fuck up, by the way, is they'll just create content without knowing why they're creating content. Like one of my clients, Gil Valerio, he's doing $500,000 a month with his agency. And funny enough,
What kind of clients does he sell to?
Funny enough, it's a Cairo agency,
Okay.
but now he's getting into private equity,
Yeah.
and he essentially wants to acquire businesses like brick and mortar and grow the business and then sell it again. And I'm like, why do you need to build a brand? He's like, oh, wouldn't it be helpful for me to like be known? I'm like, the med spa that you're trying to acquire isn't going to like be following you on social media, and that's why you were able to get a good deal.
You'd be surprised.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but you'd have to be so
it's not
big.
probable.
And you'd have to be so big. Like, you'd have to become like one of the business influencers.
Fair. Let me give you a perspective, though. You know, I bought the chicken franchise, right? I went to the meeting, and I actually met with the franchisees.
By the way, I love how you always push back a little bit. I feel like we do this on every.
Well, no, I'm just kidding, because I experienced it. Like, I went, and these guys knew who I was. And because they knew who I was, they were happy that I was acquiring the business that they were franchisees of. And they were willing to play by my rules, not the rules that they signed up for. So I was like, I'm going to increase royalties by 3%. And they're like, where's it going? I'm like, marketing. They're like, cool, consider it done. We'll pay you an extra 3% of our top line revenue to go there. Like, what else, Eddie, do you think? I'm like, I think we should do this. Great, let's do that too. Versus like, if they didn't know me, which was the situation I expected, I would have to like earn their trust to get them to do the things that I wanted to do, versus now I had half these guys already in my corner. Like, dude, Eddie already knows what he's talking about. I watch all this shit.
Yeah, I think there's definitely the possibility of that happening. And I actually think you're one of the bigger names in the marketing space. You're speaking on stages. You're starting to really, like, your brand has grown a lot. And also not just from views, but like who's following you.
That's definitely a big part, yeah.
You have a high quality brand in terms of who follows you. I think for most people, though, I'd be much more strategic with the content rather than just trying to build up my personal brand.
I agree.
And yeah. I think that, you know, what I told Gil, for example, he's trying to get into private equity. I was like, why don't you actually create something called like the Private Equity Podcast? And all you do is reach out to the top private equity guys in the world and build content around that, sharing your plan, sharing your strategy. You're going to build up your name as one of the private equity guys while also building your entire network and getting free coaching, because you're on a Zoom call or a podcast with these top guys for like an hour, 2 hours. So it's much more strategic. It's not just like go viral and make content just to build my name up.
Makes sense, yeah. In my perspective,
there's teenagers that have huge amounts of followers and they don't make any money.
But that's because the purchasing power of their followers is probably weak, right? Like my brother. You know what my brother does?
Yeah. I mean, he's mega viral.
He's mega viral. Like, I'll tell people, yeah, my brother does YouTube, and like it'll be like, and no matter where I am, like it could be a fucking waitress at a restaurant. Oh yeah, what's his name? Oh, Arab. Oh, I've seen he
does some crazy. He does viral
Africa.
shit.
Yeah, he does viral shit. Exactly.
Like, let me go hang out with a gang for.
Yeah, dude. If I show you the chats that we have while he's in those situations, you'll be like, bro, I would never do that. Like, he's like worried for his life. But my point is, like, purchasing power is nowhere near as significant as, you know, my 5,000 views versus his 2 million on a video. My 5,000, I could say, buy this thing for me for 10 grand, and maybe 10 to 20 people will buy it. Versus like he can't even sell people shit for $100. You know what I mean? He has to sell something for $5 to be able to get his audience to do it. So, but there comes a point, I feel like, where
if you're trying to be like a powerhouse in your industry, then yeah, you're gonna have to build up your name. But I think like for most people that are starting, like if like I'm gonna be speaking at your event in 2 or 3 days. I assume most of the people there run a niched agency for something specific. They're not trying to be like the next Bad Marketing, the next VaynerMedia. Like most of them, there are some that are, but
fair point.
For those guys, I would just say start with a more strategic play on content. Like, what kind of content can you start with that's going to give you more money? And then, you know, if you do want to talk about like how do you actually go viral, like let's say that you're like, no, Joel, fuck that. I want to be business famous. I want to be viral around business content.
Isn't that powerful though?
It is, and I still don't think everyone should do it.
I agree. I don't think everyone should do it. But
and here's another lesson. You want to get really good at business content. If you actually look at every famous the Andrew Tates of the world, the Hermoses of the world, the whatevers of the world, they have a very strong character. One of the
polarizing.
Yes, they're almost like a character in a movie. Like, you look at Andrew Tate, he's got his shirt off, dragon tattoo, bald, wearing glasses, sitting
cigar,
like this,
whiskey,
with red background. It's very it's he's playing
perspicacity or whatever the fuck he says.
Most people don't like the other question is, do you want to? Because if you want to go viral and to become a business icon, you're gonna have to play a character, even if the character you're playing is yourself. This is why, side note, this is why I love Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey realized after his whole career, there's this documentary called Jim and Andy, where you watch him do method acting and he loses himself.
He'll forget who he actually is.
For weeks.
Yeah.
He'll be like, who's Jim Carrey? And over his career, he realizes that Jim Carrey is also a character that he's playing. It's just the one that he's most comfortable and used to playing. And I think that to be someone big on social media, like talking millions of views, you're going to have to create sort of a larger than life character. You don't have to change yourself. Like if you see me on camera now versus a viral video, I'm still the same person. I'm still sharing some of the same views, but I'm also doing it in a heightened version.
Yeah, like a 50% high-end version.
Like, are you competitive? I know the answer, but exactly.
Yes.
You're very competitive, and I've seen Eddie go fucking, like, if he wants to win, it looks like he wants to fucking murder you.
Yeah, it's definitely different. It's definitely a different look in my eyes for sure.
If like, that's those moments are the things that will go viral.
Yeah,
catching the heightened versions of your personality. You're also a really charismatic and funny guy. Like, you know how to make a lot of people laugh, like have a good time, hold the attention of a room in a more lighthearted way. How do you do that in a heightened way on a video, on a 60-second clip? That's what goes viral. It's getting people to feel something, not what you say. It's how you feel. If I get intense right now, you're going to feel what I'm fucking saying. It's going to go more viral. That's acting, by the way.
Let's keep the intensity up, Joel. I'm okay with that, bro.
It's like I can do it. It's part of who I am, right? I can be an intense person, but I did that on purpose.
It was good, bro. I brought my energy up. I'm ready to go, man.
It proves the point. I'm getting you, whether it's like, holy fuck, I'm getting you to feel something.
Yeah.
And I think like one of the key principles, if you want to go viral, if you want to build a big authority, is you have to get people to feel something, whether it's through what you say, whether it's through your tonality, whether it's through the things that who you are. Like, for example, Wes Watson, he went to jail. Now he's like baller.
Yeah.
He's got like Rolls Royce, private jet. Like, he just walks out and you're feeling something just naturally based on who he is. I look like just a random white dude, so I got to tap into my energy. That's how I stand out.
Yeah.
But
you're definitely less polarizing than he is as a person, like the way you look.
But I can be
bearded, jacked, tattooed.
Went to jail. Now he's
don't be a pussy. Yeah.
But like, Dan Bilzerian was very. It's funny. I had a Zoom call with Dan. They wanted me and Sergio's advice on their low ticket community that they're launching, and I hopped on a Zoom call with Dan. He's the nicest, most chill guy. Like, hey guys, how are you doing? Thanks so much for being here. Chill. Wasn't like intense, but you go on his profile, it's very intense in terms of what he's showing.
Yeah.
So like one of the principles to like going viral is you're gonna have to have some sort of element of intensity, whether it's who you are, your beliefs, how you talk, your energy, the things that you have in your background. It could also be visual intensity, by the way. Like if we scroll and I see a video and it's you at the top of a skyscraper, there's a pool, and your Lambo is there in the back, and you're in like New York City, out in the open. Imagine a Lambo at the top of this skyscraper building, and there's a hot tub right in the open, and this is legit. And then and you're just sitting there in the hot tub, like that's gonna go viral. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's such a mind-blowing, intense moment happening. So that's one of the elements for sure. Like, are you willing to either create a character or be a character or tap into a part of who you are to bring that out? That's why I said earlier, like, if you want to go viral, Eddie, you absolutely have all the qualities. Like, I've seen you on the basketball court. I've seen you on stage with people. Like, you have very, I don't want to say extremes, but you have very dynamic personality. That's the word. For you to go viral, you just need to tap into it within a 60-second moment.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, what we would do is, like, sometimes I'd get drained because what we would do is I would literally, like, give me an emotion right now.
Anger.
Okay. So I would literally walk around the office and think about, like,
shit that makes you angry.
I would think about, like, some dark moments in my life, like maybe how when I was growing up I got bullied, and I would tap into that. And then I'd sit on the chair, and then I'd record my video.
Yeah.
And I'd try to go from 0 to 100.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very familiar with that. This is going to sound pretty fucked up, but, like, when I was acting in high school and middle school, like in plays
you were
and
acting?
stuff. Yeah, I used to act all the time.
Oh, shit.
I loved it. I did improv classes, like acted.
Oh, no way. That's cool, man.
I definitely had a natural talent for it. But
well, then you have
no. I mean, we both know I have it. It's just we've had this conversation.
The question, right, is like, do you want that?
Do I care for it? I don't want to be famous, bro.
Because it also like it does have it's going to polarize, so it also can push people away, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something that we've been doing a lot more of now that our name is Bad Marketing. I think I'm more willing to push people away and do shit like on ads and say certain things on content or in a speech. Like I said, I gave a speech at Traffic and Conversion Summit, and all three of my partners' feedback that were sitting in the crowd were like, that one thing you said was like, might have been a little much. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't give a fuck, because like that one thing I said pulled 10 people closer to me and 40 people away from me, but I only want to talk to those 10. And so like, that's that in that moment, I knew I had like that, that split second where you're like, make a decision, say this or not. You know what I mean? And I was like, I ran through like all the scenarios in like a second. I was like, nah, say it. And I said it. And they're like, that was a little, that was polarizing.
That's probably the best clip of the night.
Oh, wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, right. So I totally agree with you. And here's the thing in my standpoint, though. I do see value for the game I'm trying to play at life of definitely becoming bigger on social media.
Yeah, dude. Like now, any person I've DM'd there's this guy in Puerto Rico who is, you probably know him. I'll show you afterwards, but he's a crypto billionaire.
I already know who he is. Yeah.
Okay.
Plays golf a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk.
So I DM'd his business partner. I'm like, it's going to be an easier way. And he was like, oh, we have a lot of mutual connections that follow you. Let's hop on a call. So like, once you have so many followers, one of the biggest blessings is it creates a virtual network with people that you don't even know that you have access to.
Yeah.
You're one DM away. So I think there's there is a lot of value, even more than just money. The fact that also people, if people see that you have a lot of views and followers and it's legit and it's not paid for, which by the way, most people pay for their shit, which is dumb. There's like a level of respect for that as well.
Oh, for sure. It's like, it's a concept of like the broke guy wants money, the rich guy wants girls. Just an example, right? You know what I'm talking about, which is why Dan Bilzerian is like so sought after by a lot of people as well. In a way, it's like you see the dudes who are like young and poor, but they get all the girls, and you see the guys that are old and rich, and all they want are the young girls, whereas all the young guys actually want is the money, right? So like priorities change just based on like that, So I feel like that's kind of a similar example to that. And in today's world, the rich guys and the poor guys all want views. That's the reality of the situation. I talk to people who are doing $40 million a year, and their number one concern is, how do I get more views?
Wow. That's crazy.
You know it's true, though.
No, it's like now that I've gone through it, I'm like, it's like now, it's funny. I was like 2023, I went all in on content. 2024, I'm back to business.
Yeah.
Content.
But you'll still make content. You'll just do it in less time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it would be, I talked to Dan Fleischman like maybe a month or two ago, and he was like, it would be dumb for you to slow down now. If anything, you should push as hard as humanly possible now that things are clicking. I think that
Dan's a good dude.
Yeah, he's good at business for sure. And
I think just in general, good dude. Like, not just business. Like, most people I interact with are like, he's done very well for me. He's taken care of me. He's done more for me than I've done for him, I guess is the easiest way to put it.
That's cool. Yeah. I think, I mean, I have nothing but amazing things to say. He just hopped on a call and we chatted, and he gave me some really good advice. But man, what else is there on content? I try to, here's a good principle, especially in the business world. If you want to stand out, yes, the emotion, the intensity, that will win. Whether it's visual intensity, energetic intensity, verbal intensity, philosophical, your beliefs, what you say, you're going to have to do something that's going to stand out. You're scrolling, there's a bunch of booty and cars and you got Eddie's Lambo, you're competing against that, right? So it's like,
we're really all competing against booty. We're all competing against booty, bro.
All right, well, let's say that you got your blue Lambo. It's like, how do I, sitting right here looking at this camera, stand out relative to your Lambo? Something's going to have to happen. I can't just sit here and say something in a kind of boring way. I'm going to have to either say something very interesting, say something boring in an interesting way. Like, I'm going to have to do something interesting.
Yeah.
For me, what I found was like tapping into the energy, because one of my beliefs, which I actually got from my business partner, Sergio, which I'm sure he learned from somewhere else as well, like, it's not about what you say, it's about how you make people feel. And what I noticed is on social media, if you can, most of the viral things either get people to feel annoyed, they hate you, they love you, inspired, they feel something. An emotion is what goes viral. It makes it like, it's funny. I was talking to, Phil, JR's business partner, obviously. And then he was like, my girlfriend Monica watched this video from Iman about how he bought his mom this $400,000 car. Why did that video stand out of all the other videos? It's because it made her feel something.
Yeah.
That's the one that grabbed her in. So aside from that, though, let's say you got that dialed in. If you're trying to stand out and build a huge personal brand in the business world, you have to find a way to add more value than anyone else, or be someone that's already extremely valuable. So, for example, if Jeff Bezos decides to launch a 3-hour course,
no effort, yeah,
it's going mega. I'm watching it. How to make $1 million every 10 minutes.
Do you see that stat?
Yeah,
fucking crazy. What was it? Every like 16 minutes he made like $1.3 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Fucking
and I think
stupid.
that so if you're already so valuable and you start creating content, obviously it's going to be easier. But if not, like here we got sitting in the sidelines, we got my creative director, Lyndon, who launched a free course on YouTube on how to grow on YouTube. And he's essentially sharing everything he's learned. And he gave everything away for free. There's one video that just went viral about drop shipping, where this guy launched an 18-hour course on one video. I don't know if you saw that. 18 hours of high-quality content on one video. We're about to drop a 12-hour course, literally walking you step by step through how to build an agency for 2024 based on what's working right now. We give it away for free on YouTube. So I think like,
free meaning you're going to post it on YouTube? Or
post it on YouTube. We're not even going to gatekeep through an email.
Okay, that's what I was asking, yeah.
No email. So it's like, if you want to build such a strong brand, you have to outgive everyone. And it's getting harder. And the only way to do it is to either be someone more valuable where what you give is worth more, or really just put in way more effort.
Yeah.
And I think like if you went out and built a course that shows, even outside of agency, maybe sales, maybe marketing, maybe any, like you're already a very valuable person. So if you took the time to be like, yo, I'm going to invest 30 hours into building the mega course on sales, you gave that away, people are going to lose their fucking minds.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I mean, that's also a huge part of why I went viral. There's no denying it. I gave away my 7-figure agency course and people went nuts. People went crazy.
It's a damn good course too.
That's the idea, right? You have to outgive. Like, it's not just about like, you know how Gary Vee says like give, take, or, you know, jab, 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 right hook.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's like, I'm going to give more and better and faster than anyone else in the market in my niche.
Yeah, you have to.
And in a perfect world, you know, one of my biggest regrets actually, which I've learned a lot, and now there's what's done is done, but if I could go back in time, I would have never built a business around my personal brand. Ever.
I agree. I think it was one of your biggest mistakes. And it's also one of your biggest blessings. It's an interesting place, right? Like, cause like it does fund your business, but it also prisons you into the business as well.
What happens is the moment so essentially what content is building a relationship at scale with people. So right now, I mean, how many times we've hung out? A lot of times. Played basketball together, going out to eat together, all this stuff. Gone to business events together. There's people right now that are essentially building that relationship with you that you don't even know exist.
Yeah. They're watching videos right now. Yeah.
Like your team, when I walked in, they were like, oh, Joel, like I've seen you so much, which is awesome, right? But it's like, that's the beauty of content and building a brand, is that people are now spending time with you virtually. And man, where was I going with this? It was a very important, the moment that you ask or you monetize, what happens is you start to create a more transactional relationship. So let's say that I'm a very good friend, but I'm always like, yo, Eddie, can you hook me up with like dinner tonight? Like, It eventually, at first you'd probably be like, yeah, I got you, man. And then after like 2 or 3 times, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I think I'm just not going to pick up this call this time.
It just starts to like, you start to lose that genuineness. I think in a perfect world, you just give and you never take. Like in a perfect world, not even selling a book.
Yeah, but I think also people just underestimate how much money and time goes into making content.
I'm talking perfect world scenario.
Yeah. That's why I'm perfecting this world right now real quick. But like that is the biggest problem, right? And I see people in comments, oh, look at this guy sell out. Look at him trying to sling this or whatever. Like people have no fucking clue how much money and time this shit takes. That's why people don't do it in the first place.
It's expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
and you're running lean.
Yeah, for you, it's probably a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely more expensive, and it has less of a direct ROI to the business as yours does.
Yeah, I think like one of my, again, if I was starting all over again, I would have created, I mean, this is my plan, honestly. I'll just tell you, for 2024, I'm going to be building massive courses, like the best of the best of the best for all these different topics and just giving them away for free on YouTube. I'm not even going to ask for an email. And in a perfect world, I would not even ask of anything. I would just give all this and just keep giving this and keep giving this. And then what would happen is people would be like, Joel, right now, here's what people say. Right now, people say, Joel adds so much value. He helps out so many people with his free courses. And he also needs to build his business, which is fair, right? But if I never asked, hey, sign up for my coaching program, what would happen is people would say, holy shit, Joel's a god. That's what they would say.
Like Ramosi.
I think even if he literally never, imagine if, this is kind of a hypothetical, what if he actually paid for all the hard books? Just gave them away.
That'd be too much, obviously, right?
But what would people think?
I mean, it's not even a realistic scenario to even think about it. Like in my opinion.
What if he gave away 1,000 copies a year?
Yeah, that's light work. That's nothing.
I think like the more, I think it just goes to show the more you give with just wanting to help people, without expecting anything in return, the more your brand grows. That's the takeaway.
Yeah. No, I agree. So,
but also give something of value or be someone valuable giving that thing.
So to conclude, like if someone's trying to get big online, one, if they want to go viral, they need to be polarizing. They need to be like outside the box. They need to kind of challenge like their normal self and play outside of that and be a main character, let's call it. If someone is in the business world, you don't recommend that they go in and they try to make viral content. You recommend that they try to make nurturing content because
I recommend they start with a why. Why am I even creating content?
Yeah, I mean to make more money. Let's say broad.
Then it just depends on strategically on your agency. If you're an e-com agency, it's going to be very different than if you're a chiro agency. E-com, there's a lot of e-com brands on social media. Probably way easier to get clients for e-com through content than it would be for a chiro.
Yeah,
like piece of content.
Makes sense.
So just get clear on that.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So if I'm an agency, for example, then ideally I'm trying to create valuable content around the thing that I'm selling so that it's more of nurture content, basically, so I can drive people and then like they can watch one video and then end up hopefully going down a rabbit hole, and that's my best use of content. It's not to go get more new people, right?
It's to get whoever's already checking me out to be like,
if there's no one checking me out,
I'm going to run ads, do cold email.
Okay,
I'm not
cool.
creating
That's what I'm
content to
saying. Okay,
drive.
cool.
Here's a lesson. There's two types of content. There's traffic, conversion. There's content that's going to drive more people into your ecosystem, and there's content that's going to convert and close those people that are already in your ecosystem. Using content as a traffic strategy is not the best idea for most people, unless they're trying to be a business entrepreneur or build a big brand. Like for you, it would make sense.
Yeah. But even then, it doesn't make that much sense for my clients, right? Like I'm not getting an absurd amount of clients from my content. I'm getting enough to like float the company, right? But like I still have to run ads. I still have to do emails. Like in my head, I'm building my brand for my brand. Like that'll be bad marketing. That'll be Scoville Chicken. That'll be other businesses that I get into and opportunities that come my way because of the brand that I built. People build trust with me. Like you said, I can build trust with everyone without having to actually build trust with anyone directly.
Exactly.
And because of that, then they'll come to me and they'll bring me opportunities, or I can go to them for things and they will have a mutual respect for me because of the content that I've already provided and the value I have too.
Yeah, I also think that you have the potential to be a big name. I mean, you're already a big name, so it's like
No, I'm really not. I'm a small name. I'm a big name maybe in our space.
In our space, yeah. In the inner circle. But I think like I would actually grow it. I would say create content that drives more traffic to you personally. I think because your business, you're a marketing agency that can work with most businesses, right?
Yeah, sadly we turn away like 97%, let's say.
Yeah.
Just because like even if they're huge, they're like in an industry we don't want to work in. Or like,
makes sense.
It's just like a million things. It's for the team, not for me. Like if I was like,
I think your network, like I would do it for
that's why I do it. It's like the network that I build, even referrals that just come from it, right? Like it may not be the person that watched the video becomes a client, but they go to tell someone else says, oh, I wish I had a marketing guy. Like, oh dude, this guy Eddie's sick. Like you should work with his team. You know what I mean? And that ends up building a relationship that's financially profitable and makes an ROI on it. Like we did short form content for Amazon. We had our head of Amazon, my partner, basically get on and like give Amazon advice on short form. Got 15,000 views, probably like 4 videos in a row. Each one got a client, like high paying client, 6 figures a year client. So that's cool. You know what I mean? And we're starting to kind of tap and unlock and see what that looks like. Like I'd say for me, I have to go a little bit more broad, but like in business. Whereas in our bad marketing page, you'll see kind of my plan when I talk. My bad marketing page, like we're basically going to go just straight, like how can we get the most views? Like I don't even care. I have the name bad marketing. Like there's so many concepts around like other people who actually have bad marketing and like trolling it and doing things around it that could go viral very quickly, where we can hop on trends or hop on things that are funny to be able to make ourselves go viral. That way I can make the business.
You see how clear you are?
Oh, we're so clear.
It's like, you're like, this is the goal. This is why we're creating content for this specific page. I think that's the starting point for most people, that they're just like, oh, I got to go viral. I need more views, right? Like you said, most people are just like, I need more views.
Yeah. And like even Skylar, right? Like we were like, okay, there's like 5 concepts we want to do this year. If we do these regularly, we'll get way more views. Do you know how many followers came from that video? Probably a few hundred, just looking at like the number that went up. Yeah. Yeah, 200-300. So like, I know it's not a lot, but like we have like 15,000 people on the page, right? So I was like, we need to hop on trends. So like next day he was like, oh dude, I found a trend, this tumbler from Starbucks, like I can make a sick video, do a voiceover, cool, run with it. He did it. I mean, if you watch, you'd be like, this is fucking pretty good. This guy's probably a copywriter. Like put it together, spun it up, took a bunch of clips, did it, over 30,000 views. Doesn't sound like a lot, but like on a page that's averaging 4, 3, 10x on video number 1 of concept plus followers is huge, right? So we're like, if we can just run this play once a week along with these 4 other plays that are maybe better than this one even, then I can take the page, a business page, which I think is the important note here, not a personal page, from 16,000 followers to maybe 100 or 150,000 followers at the end of the year. I think that's mega valuable for our company if they're actually real followers. You know what I mean? Because then it can become a media outlet.
Yeah, I think like maybe I can give some more practical advice too. And I'm glad I got into like theory and stuff, because I think most people, when they say, how do you get good at content? It's almost like if I asked you, how do you do business?
Yeah. There's I don't even know where to start.
We can go in.
Yeah.
There's so many different directions you could take that conversation. But like practically speaking, for anyone listening to this, I would say absolutely you should have these 10 videos made as soon as you, right now. At least 5 case studies where you interview someone that's succeeded with your company. And what you do is you follow a framework of asking them, where were you at before? Where were you at after? And then taking some of the biggest objections that people ask and essentially asking them, like,
how much time did you actually have to do to get this done? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or like, I know you were worried about the price. It's a big investment before signing up. Like, what would you say to your, if you could go back in time, what would you have said to yourself in that moment where when you saw the price and you were like, man, it's a big investment, but I really trust these guys, but it's still a little scary. What would you have said to yourself? So I would use these case study interviews to not only build social proof, but also to handle objections. Then what I would do is I would make one VSL video that you just upload on YouTube. So like, for anyone watching, I can't teach you how to do VSLs in like a podcast.
Yeah. No chance. Yeah.
But you're essentially going to take a VSL and upload it as a YouTube video. You could even experiment with doing like a podcast VSL where you talk about all the things that you would hit on a podcast, but in a conversation. You could do slides. It doesn't matter, but just have that video so that anyone that's considering working with you guys, they see at least 5 case studies. They see the VSL. I would make another video that's a frequently asked questions. Write down all the different questions, like even technical questions, not just objections, like frequently asked questions. What are all the different things? Make that video. And then I would take your top 3 objections, whatever they are, and make a separate video around that. So if your biggest objection is, I've already tried this before, make an entire YouTube video just around that. Every company should have at least these 10 videos just to start. Aside from that, for most of you guys watching, I would highly recommend creating a podcast. And here's why. Most of you guys don't have the discipline to go and shoot content. And what's going to happen is you're going to want to like hire this person and make sure it's perfect and buy this camera. And then after you buy the camera, you need the mic. And after you buy the mic, you need the light. And you're just delaying the
Everyone
the
does
doing. We've all been there. I mean, I would just buy more stuff and never do anything. I would literally hire people, fly them out, and I would still not record content.
Yeah.
What I would do is, if you have a podcast where you're doing it every week, it's much easier to commit to. It's a much easier commitment, and you don't have to feel like you don't have to worry about a script. You don't have to worry about like technical stuff. It's just like it's a conversation. What I would then do is talk about things around your niche, interview all of the biggest authorities in the space, try to get them to come on your podcast, and bring on your best clients. And by the way, as a side note, I would also invite people that you want to partner with. So like if you're a med spa agency, go talk to the creator of this product that gets sold to every med spa in the United States and try to get them on your podcast. And at the end be like, hey, is there a chance for us to collaborate in some way, shape, or form? We do marketing. You guys have this product. You're already your sales reps are connected to thousands of med spas in the nation. What if I sent you guys a kickback for every med spa you send us?
Yeah.
So essentially, it's a networking tool. It allows you to start creating content, get your feet wet, be seen as an authority in your space, do all of these things in a way that's not that overwhelming. That's where I would start. Just those 10 videos, get them done, start a podcast. And then, by the way, you could take, every time you do a podcast, you could take it, put it on YouTube, put it on Spotify, put it on all the different podcast streaming places. You could even clip it up and turn it into short form content, which is probably not going to go viral, by the way. But if anyone comes to your agency and they're thinking about working with you guys, they're going to be like, oh shit, this person's legit. Like if you interview, like I'm just going to think of like 5 big names: Donald Trump, Joe Rogan, Grant Cardone, Jay-Z. I'm just thinking like Drake.
Yeah.
You got those people on this podcast, they're going to be like, oh shit, Eddie knows people.
Yeah. 100%.
Immediately. So
just
like,
from having them on the podcast.
Even if you don't talk about anything that's business related.
Yeah.
That's a good start. For 99% of people that are watching this that are using content to build their business, not to become famous YouTubers, that's what I would recommend.
So for the next 12 months as Joel Kaplan, what are you doing? Like you guys have definitely had a game plan, right? I hope so. Guys in the room.
We kind of roll with it too. Like, that's a great question. Like, here's another thing with content. It's also a creative thing. So yes, we've had a game plan, and we also go based on feeling a lot. It's actually very different than business. Business is like, it is what it is. You do this, you get this outcome. But the effectiveness of a video could, at least for us, for what we're trying to do, because we're just trying to get a lot of views, grow the brand. For trying to get a lot of views and to grow the brand, it also has to feel right. And that changes. Like the last 30 days, we actually haven't created any content. I just haven't been feeling it.
You haven't been feeling it.
Just like not.
Is that just him being lazy, guys, or what?
I think it's just a lack of alignment with the overall goal, right? Like you don't want to create that kind of content anymore.
Yeah, I mean, me and Lyndon have made videos till 2 a.m. So it's not a matter of, at least from my perspective, about laziness. It's more, I think it's more like, it's not aligned. It doesn't feel right. It's just, which goes back to feeling. So I think for 2024, my goal is, how do I add more value in the marketplace than anyone else? How do I continue making viral content to promote all that value? Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to go with the flow a little bit. I know that's the opposite of business, but what if I have a genius idea that has nothing to do with the plan? For example, we decided I'm going to start a podcast where I interview all the people that I would love to meet. That's it. And we have no idea where it might fail, but we already have a few people locked in.
Who you've never met?
Correct.
Okay.
So Neil Patel said yes, so we're going to fly out to LA, hang out with Neil Patel for hopefully the day. Vic Keller, do you know Vic Keller?
No.
He sold 8 of his companies to Warren Buffett for billions of dollars.
Okay.
To Berkshire Hathaway. So
Keller Williams? Was he Keller Williams?
No, to Warren, to Berkshire.
No, I'm just wondering if he made Keller Williams.
Oh,
Keller
no.
Cool.
And we're going to try to just get really, I want to get a billionaire hedge fund manager. It's like people that I just want to connect with. And we're going to create content where I just tell their stories. and I shut up. Like, I'm not even going to be the star, the influencer, but that's very different than everything we've ever done. So like, that's an idea that we had, and we're like, let's run with it. We really like it. It feels really good.
It's a great idea. And you leverage their audiences too. So their audiences probably want to learn more about them than you anyways. So giving them the spotlight is definitely going to be the best way to make the best out of their audience. If you're just the best interviewer, then that show will pop off. Because if you can dig, and here's something I think Patrick Bet-David does really well. He'll do a lot of research on someone. And if someone doesn't do a lot of research on someone to get them on their podcast, they don't know like what they've talked about on other podcasts. And most people re-ask the same question. So like, if I'm an avid listener of like Joel Kaplan, and I go and I listen to another podcast of Joel Kaplan, let's say the Bad Marketing Podcast, and it's like,
well, today you guys got new stuff. No,
for sure. For sure, right? But like, if I went back and I was like, okay, Joel, like, tell me about this.
Tell me your story.
Right? It's like, how many times have you told that story, right? Whereas if I'm like, okay, screw that stuff, I have like these 10 questions I'm dying to ask that are super important that I've never heard you answer before, so let's get into them. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah,
I really
blah.
like that. That's a great idea.
I think it's...
My initial idea was I'm interested in people's stories, and I was just going to go deeper and farther back than most people go. But I really like that idea, too, of just asking better questions that haven't been asked.
Like, why do we still watch Andrew Tate podcasts?
Do you? I don't.
I watched the last few. They were actually pretty good.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they're really good. And it's because...
some new shit?
It's because of the people that are interviewing them. And I kind of hand select which ones because I know which ones are picking good questions that are either challenging or they're different than what's been asked before, so that I can learn something about someone new. It doesn't even need to be the answer that teaches me what's new. It could be like indirectly the answer by showing me how they think about that thing. You know what I mean? Like, I could be like, you know, what's your morning routine? Just an example, right? And like, it's not maybe necessarily the answer of what your morning routine is, but it's like, I don't believe in a fucking morning routine because X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? Now I've learned something different about this person that I look up to, as opposed to just being like, how do you make your money, Andrew? You know what I mean? Just an example, right? So I think if you do something like that, because really you're leveraging their audience, right? That's kind of the goal.
My goal with it, again, I started with why. My goal is I want to just connect with people. I mean,
of course you do, but like if they all get, like,
well,
if they're all names,
the benefit to them is that my goal is to actually, aside from Neil Patel, my goal is actually to get people that no one even knows about. So what I'm going to do for them,
that's a little different. Okay, you got to ask their story for sure.
Yeah. Neil Patel was the only one that we were like, we want to connect with him, but maybe there's a few more on the list. But for the most part, it's new people that no one ever knows.
I thought it was like super famous people like me, you know?
Yeah, I got you. I mean,
I'm joking.
You're actually on the podcast right now. Plot twist. It's happening right now. Oh, man. Yeah, I think that's the plan. So keep going, creating more courses, adding more value in the marketplace, continuing to go viral because we have the formula down. And then we're going to launch that podcast where we actually fly out, make really high quality content. And what I started with why. I was like, why do I want to do this? I want to connect with those people. Like, one of the biggest problems as we become, and I'm maybe you have an interesting take on this, but like, I found it harder to get the right coaches as you scale. It's not like when you're at 0, you're like, there's a clear coach to get you to 6 figures. When you're at 6 figures, there's a clear coach to get you to 7 figures.
Those guys are too quiet. At the top, they're too quiet.
When you get to 7 figures, there's even a clear coach to get you to 8. But then from 8 to 9, and then what happens is like, you want the right coach. And then it's like, could you get a life insurance CEO that's a 9-figure entrepreneur to give you advice on how to grow bad marketing?
Probably not.
Sure. I mean, he can give you some advice, but it's not going to be specific to you.
I'd probably have to go to Gary Vee to get a 9-figure marketing agency advice, to be honest.
And there's less of those, right?
Yeah, I can't even think of like 2, to be honest. Like
there's few, right?
Yeah. Like as an individual, I can think of like a company. Oh, let me go figure out. But like as an individual, probably like Gary Vee's the only one that I could think of that actually is running a 9-figure marketing agency operation that would be worth me going and paying.
Yeah. So for me, the idea was, how can I connect with people that could be a mentor, right, for things that I want to learn about? Yeah. That was the idea. But yeah, man, I mean, there's a lot more to content. It's hard to explain it and it's funny because when I started blowing up, all these people in our space were like, Joel, like, how'd you do that? Like, holy shit. They're like, teach me. And I'm like, there's a lot to it, you know?
And if you guys want to buy Joel's course on how to go viral,
it's $1 million.
Click the link below.
It's $1 million.
And sign up.
Click below. It's $1 million. Why are you looking at me that way? Just saying it's $1 million.
Skylar's got the million, bro. He's saying I'll front it, bro. I'll split it with you.
There you go.
50-50. But I appreciate you coming on, bro. Thanks for sharing. I know we kind of were all over the place, but.
And by the way, I don't sell courses. I give all my courses away for free on YouTube. But my business model in 2023 was, and really it shifted, and I'm really happy it did. I give everything away for free, all the content, course material, information. My theory is if you can go out and make money with my free courses, then I've earned the right to charge you for access, for implementation, for coaching. So,
agreed. Well, thank you for getting on the show.
You can't click below. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you can, because I'm going to link his YouTube channels below and his Instagram and everything like that. So if you guys haven't heard from Joel, go to the channel. The courses are on there.
Absolutely.
And blow your brain with some information, because he's a big part of the reason why I'm here today. So appreciate you coming on, bro.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot. Hope you guys got some value out of this episode. Thanks so much for watching another episode of the Bad Marketing Podcast. I hope you got immense value from it. And if you did, all we ask of you is that you share this with a friend that you think could find this very valuable. And depending on the platform that you're watching or listening to this on, please like, subscribe, or rate the podcast as best as possible. It really means a lot to us. We pour so much money, time, and effort into getting these guests here, filming all this, editing it, all for free, just to give you free value. And all we ask in return is that you just share this with people. You give it a positive review so that we can continue to reach more people and impact more lives with all this effort that we're putting in. With that being said, thanks so much for tuning into the episode, and I look forward to continue to provide you more valuable content moving forward on the Bad Marketing Podcast. Make sure you subscribe.